Hi, I am Jorge Villacorta. This is the third part of a brief explanation on why the productions of in which David S. Sterling has participated are important from the perspective of art history. And naturally, we are using a particular case to explore and to expand the situation, but David S. Sterling, David S. Sterling is representative of an interest in making movies that, even though it may not be the main objective, will lead to formal experimentation. And it is a subject to be studied. But right now, I would say that it's a very representative individual in a group of similar producers, and that's why devoting a museum to his oeuvre is important to the whole of his work. It's something to study. Well, what I was saying that is that he has strict rules to produce. For example, in an interview, I should look for the source, he indicated that he's cheap, that he doesn't keep food around the set, but that everyone is happy when the movie is finished. That's very important. That's very interesting. Because other schools of production, for example, there are schools that suggest, or tendencies that suggest that a low budget film is a movie that you make with the amount of money you have. And they don't say you have, they don't state a minimum, a minimum, which is like inviting you to produce with more money if you have more money. But that doesn't make sense from a business perspective. From a business perspective, you should spend money at all and earn money. Okay, but there are a number of logics behind this position because there are assumptions, and my own assumptions are also represented by what David S. Sterling has developed. Therefore, bringing them to consciousness is the intellectual work that it is necessary to develop to explain why to certain people what he has made and continues making is very important, and why we want to see a museum with his name. Okay, but the main point is that if you have, for example, or for example, if you have read the book by Doug Siemens, okay, you will notice that he gives you a recipe. First, the full book is about, well, it's a recipe to make a production, and he will explain how you should use funds, money, but it is only useful if you already have a capital. Otherwise, you cannot do it. At the end, only at the end of the book, he explains that you can make a digital movie and save money. But he is introducing you also to the industrial model of making movies. And these schools that indicate that you should use only the money you have, and if you have more money, you use more money, they are introducing you indirectly to an industrial model of making movies. But in the case of Mr. Sterling, he has stated, for example, that he has made movies for less than $10,000. That's a great beginning, because at least he's stating a number. For me, the movie should be made without money and see what happens. We'll see what happens, especially now that there is the technology. Well, this is a new whole discussion, and it would demand explanations and explanations and explanations. So I'm gonna finish this video right now. This is the third part. I hope these little explanations begins to illuminate why Mr. Sterling's productions are very important and should be studied, and why a museum devoted to his production, well, to his career should be open, because he represents a particular viewpoint in a field, and that viewpoint is important. Naturally, not everyone can have, well, they, it is possible that there's a number of people that support this idea, that intellectual activity should indicate why it happens, what assumptions are behind this support to this tendency, because Mr. Sterling represents a particular tendency. How this tendency is defined, etc., will be the subject of following videos. Thank you very much. This was Jorge Villacurta. Bye.